Okay, the pre-show has started. Okay, and okay, I'm going to set the timer, and you guys can start the show. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Can you see the timer on the screen, or you want me to make it bigger?
Uh, Lower it down because I can't see it a little. Looks like it's too far up top.
Better?
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
That's as big as I can make it. Okay,
That's fine.
here we go. I'll reset it.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Fair Catch. I'm Rob, that's Russ, and where to begin? How about the NHL playoff?
As a wise man once said, there's a doings going on.
Well, there are a lot of them. I mean, especially after last week. I mean, they had NHL playoffs, the NFL draft. I mean, what more of a sports weekend would you want besides opening kickoff weekend of the NFL? But let's start off with the NHL. Let's start off with the NHL playoffs. What do you think?
Yeah, we got a couple of teams on the golf course already.
Well, 3 teams.
Yeah, we got the LA Kings. They got swept by the Avs. We got the Philadelphia Flyers who beat the Penguins 4-2, and Carolina. Man, they treated the Ottawa Senators like a bunch of dogs or whatever. Good Lord, they swept them 4-0.
Yeah, but you know what I think it was? It was they had a bad luck fan or something, and they banned him from the Canadian Tire Center.
That was it. Sure.
But also congratulations goes out to that Kopitar. That's was his final game of his career. Heck of a player.
Always a solid player. Always a solid player.
You see him going? Do you see him going to the Hall of Fame?
I think so. He's got a couple of Stanley Cup rings. I think he's got over 1,000 points, in his career. So, yeah, I mean, I could see that. No, I mean, I think he's got the credentials to do so.
Well respected too, and what I've noticed during that line. But some other great series still going on. I know all of them are 3-2.
Yeah, well, including we got our own. We got our own. Had a chance to close them out at home, didn't quite work out. So game 6 is on Friday. But Montreal up 3-2 on Tampa. That series, I think that series is going to go 7.
Yeah, and did you notice the score of those games too? All of them ended at 3-2, which is weird to say.
That is something. But we got them, and then we got the Vegas Golden Knights up 3-2. Yep. They're up 3-2.
By the way, shorthanded.
Yeah.
And then Minnesota's leading Dallas, which you were telling me, watch out for Minnesota over Dallas.
I'll tell you, there's a player on Minnesota, Matthew Boldy, I think his name is, and that's a kid that the Sabres tried to get for Jack, included in a Jack Eichel trade, and you see why. Because he is everything as advertised. But yeah, the Minnesota Wild, they're a sneaky good team. You know, and the thing is, when you get to the NHL playoffs, whether you're the 8th seeded team or the 1st seeded team, if you catch fire at the right time,
Yep.
you can go. I mean, you can go far. And
Yeah,
right now,
the Sabres went once to the finals as a 7th seed. That was in '99, and they went to the
mhm,
third round as a 7th seed against Carolina, if I remember. But they struggled the following year because they were President Trophy winners, and you
yep,
know what happened.
right.
But so we'll go by game, or series by series. Buffalo and Boston. I think Buffalo, if they play the way they've been playing, they could put away this series tomorrow.
Goaltending has to be solid, which Alex Lyon, the Lion King, has been solid. So no problem there. If the goaltending is solid, they've always got a shot. And losing Oslin hurt
Mm-hmm.
in Game 5, that's no excuse why they couldn't win. But who's going to take Oslin's spot is going to be interesting if he can't play, which I don't think he will. But Boston, I'm telling you, they're just they're a tough team.
Oh,
Top down.
I didn't think that series was going to be that easy. I mean, especially Swayman. Even though Swayman struggled in Game 4, I mean but that wasn't on him. It was a lot of it was on the team in front of him, who just like struggled to keep up with the Sabres forwards, and then, but he played a lot better. You know, he played a lot better last game, Swayman. And defensively, I think Boston played a lot better, but still, they look like. But the Sabres' speed is really it's tough for Boston to handle.
Well, I'll tell you what. Now, with Oslin possibly not being able to play, now you're looking at, okay, is Josh Norris ready to come back? Or
And he is playing tomorrow, by the way.
he is going to play. Okay. And I'll tell you what, they made some call ups from Rochester. They've got one kid that I would love to see in there is Consta Hellenius. I think I said that right. I'm not sure. But there's a kid, I'm telling you, another first round pick under the Kevin Adams regime that's starting to really show himself down in Rochester. If anything happens, I would love to see this kid get an opportunity. But I think as a whole, it's right there for them. It literally is. Alex Lyon's playing well. As long as he can continue to play well, and the defense hold, the offense can put in like 3 goals. As I think 3 goals is the sweet spot.
Oh yeah.
I think if they can score at least 3, they have a fantastic chance of advancing. And how about that? We're talking about a team that December, whatever it was, 4th.
It was in last place.
They were in last place, and here they are on the verge of going to the second round. Who had that on their bingo card? It wasn't me. I can tell you that much. But so it's been a good ride, and to have a chance to make it a great ride with a win on Friday night.
Absolutely, and that's what I think. If they keep with their speed and keep doing what they're doing, I think they put the series away. And finally, they scored on the power play.
Yeah, hey, but you know what? That could spark something though, right there.
Yeah, I think so.
It really could. But yeah, I mean, it's all about their star players coming to play. Because Darlene got on the board.
Mm-hmm.
With the goal finally.
And Bo
Um,
Byron's been a great series so far.
oh, Bo Byram. I mean, I'm going to tell you what, Bo Byram, he's only got one more year left on his contract. Not to be a downer about the whole thing or anything like that.
Yeah, it's like I mean, you have Tuck and you have Byram, and I'd rather keep Tuck, because he another person who is having a very good series too, and
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Tuck, man, you don't realize how fast Tuck is for his size, but the forecheck of the Sabres is going to be really key because winning 6-1, a huge part of that was the forecheck getting in on the Bruins, causing those turnovers. Because it was like
you,
one turnover after another, after another, after another, and it's like, holy cow! But I mean, they need the forecheck to go in, to get on them because they've been prone to turn the puck over as they did,
oh yeah,
and and the goaltending to be solid. If that can happen, they can definitely win this one.
yeah, I could see that happening. So then let's go up to the Montreal and Tampa series. I'm not really surprised that Montreal's up 3-2. I mean, because Tampa Bay near the end of the season showed some signs of weakness, and Montreal they were only a point behind Tampa Bay.
You know what? I mean, Tampa, are they starting to show some age with Kucherov and all those guys? You know,
Possibility.
but Montreal is a fast team.
Mm-hmm.
They've always been built on speed. They've got some good goaltending. Um, the Sabres played well against them during the season, so there's really no like if and when the Sabres get past um, Boston, and if they're playing against Montreal, I don't have a problem with that series at all. But they're
I
gonna
think
be they're gonna be a problem because Cole Caulfield he is a problem.
I think it'll be an evenly matched series, and I think it'll go back and forth.
Oh yeah.
Where I rather play Tampa just because we know we can beat them. We know we are confident enough to beat them. I I I'd rather play Tampa, but I think if you for a hockey stand, it'd be a fun series, Buffalo and Montreal.
Oh, it
And by the
definitely.
way,
Uh-huh.
I learned something too. Now, if Buffalo beats Boston and then faces Montreal and beats Montreal and beats Carolina and beats Colorado, they beat all the Adams division.
Oh, that's right. Oh my God, the Adams division. Oh my goodness.
You had
Oh,
the
that'll
Carolina, Hartford, and then obviously Colorado with
Quebec.
Colorado uh, Quebec Nordiques.
Quebec Nordiques. One of the more iconic jerseys in
I
hockey
love them.
hockey history.
Hey, I ain't gonna complain. I liked them. Huh.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And some of the teams that they had the Stastny brothers, Michel Goulet killed the
Mm-hmm.
Sabres every single time, I swear. Oh my God. And the biggest thing was because Quebec was always one of the top. There was a string there where Quebec was one of the top teams in the Adams division, always in like first or second or whatever. And the team that they had they had Joe Sakic and whatever.
And,
They
and, and
the
what's
C
go ahead.
no when they moved to Colorado, the year that they moved to Colorado, they won the cup with
Yeah,
Patrick Waugh in net.
it almost reminds me of Cleveland Browns moving to Baltimore, and then Baltimore wins the Super Bowl 5 years later. Go
Oh my
figure.
goodness!
But
If that's not if that doesn't like smack you in the face a little bit.
yeah, my friend Carl says they rather play Tampa which again I don't blame that. I mean, he
I don't.
you know,
Tampa's
but
sneaky though, man. They're one of those teams. I mean, that when you think they're left for dead, they
yeah,
can pull it out. I mean,
and
but
they're very experienced too.
mhm,
Very good coach, very experienced.
you
Um,
know, and Kucherov is one of the top players in the league, bar none. So you can't. So you really can't look. Yes, the Sabres played well against Tampa, but you can't take the regular season as
no,
gospel either.
we learned that like back then, like Ottawa controlled us in the regular season back in 05-06, and Buffalo beat them in five. And we
Yeah,
all know what happened in Game 5.
right.
Some guy named Jason Palmville.
Oh,
Right.
jeez. Almondville. Oh my God.
Go to the Western Conference, Minnesota, Dallas. Minnesota up 3-2. Are you surprised?
No, no. I mean, Minnesota up 3-2. Um, I mean, they've got some good players on that team. I mean, I mentioned Matt Boldy earlier. Um, you're talking about a dude that it took him a couple of years to get going, but I'm telling you, he scored 40 plus goals in the regular season, and then in the playoffs he's got like 5 points in the 6 games. No, I'm sorry. Hold on. He's got 7 points in the 5 games. So he's having a season. He's having a year. Um,
And,
but
and,
yeah,
and the weird, yeah, the weird part is like Dallas is scoring power play goals, where Buffalo's not scoring power play goals. Buffalo's up 3-2, and Dallas is down 3-2. It makes me wonder if really the power play doesn't matter in the
no,
playoffs.
the power play matters. The thing about the Sabres is that their goaltending's good. They've got their goaltending's pretty solid. But if you don't have that in the playoffs, you're done.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You're done. So the Lion King is coming through, and you started and with a playoff goal the last game, that could be the one to unlock it.
Mm-hmm.
No?
Where
So
Dallas could win Game 6. I mean, all these series could easily go to Game 7. But then
absolutely.
again, I think Vegas tore the heart out of Utah yesterday with a shorthanded goal in overtime. And
Ooh,
Vegas, I'm not surprised because they got a very good goaltender in Corey Hart, who obviously we know played for Philadelphia. That was probably one of their better goaltenders in the past, like, I don't know, 10 years or
well, they had
what
Theo
I would.
Fleury there for a while. So they
Yeah,
had
Mark
Theo
Andre.
Fleury. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, Mark Andre.
Yep. Flower.
He's gonna do
Girl Flower.
that. Mark
Yeah.
Andre Fleury. Theo Fleury was a goal scorer for the Flames back in the '80s. That shows you where my brain's at. But Marc
Yep.
Andre Fleury, he got the franchise going and won a cup
One a
eventually.
couple. Yep. So Corey Hardy's looking good. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, Utah looks again. They're young and upcoming. I see them going. If they lose this series, they're going to go back. I think, in my opinion, they're going to add a few pieces. I mean, I mean, all these games I think still have a potential going to Game 7, but I hope not because like for Buffalo's sake, because then we'll be nervous on Game 7.
Man, that'll be one hell of a scene, though.
Oh yeah.
That'll be one that'll be if that doesn't cause an earthquake, I don't know what will. because that arena will be unbelievable.
Yeah, I did like the what they did on Game 5, like the crowd singing the Canadian national anthem. It was amazing and shows you why Buffalo has the best sports fans in the league,
Yeah.
in any league, the NFL and the NHL.
Yeah, I would
It
wonder.
was
Hopefully they check the mic connection next time so it doesn't cut out though.
or there's a sign saying "Bring back Doug Allen." Yeah,
Oh jeez, Doug Allen.
they love him, man. But no, obviously they got to check the mic next time. I mean,
Yeah. But how about the Edmonton Oilers, the Never Say Die Oilers?
oh, I totally forgot about that series. That's still going.
Oh yeah.
But I was like Anaheim. They're a feisty team. They've been feisty all year round, even though they have not looked good in spurts. But they've been feisty.
I'll tell you what, man. Connor McDavid's got to be feeling that pressure right about now, because
Absolutely.
you and I both know he's been in the league 10 years now. He's not a rookie. He's not new. I think he's been to the Cup finals a couple times. He's
drafted behind him already won a cup.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. For him to be considered in the same breath as Crosby and any of those guys, he has to win one.
And which again, I kind of blame that on their goaltending. I mean, it went from Skinner, why I think Pittsburgh lost their series because of the goaltending. Skinner struggled last season in the Stanley Cup Finals against Florida. And then you have Jari, who's not really that good, who's about the same level as Skinner. If not, Skinner may be a little bit better, but we don't know.
Well, I mean, the Oilers, goaltending wise, it's the same problem that the Sabres had for years. It's like they had the years that we had like Reinhardt and Eichel and Ristolainen, and they had a core group of players, but they just could not win with that group. The goaltending was subpar.
And even the coach.
It's been subpar until this season. It was subpar since Ryan Miller left.
Mm-hmm.
But
you saw Allmark had potential, but he did not want to stay here. Obviously, you know why? Because the team in front of him. But look at I don't think he was terrible against Carolina, Allmark. I would think he played pretty decent. But Luukkonen also was showing promise this year. Unfortunately, he gave up a bad goal in Game 2.
Well, it's UPL has a habit of going through stretches where he looks great.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gives up a beach ball of a goal.
Which was a beach ball of a goal.
It's like, and it's frustrating because he stands on his head and he can be the anchor. He's shown that he can be. But then he has these performances where you're like, come on. What are you doing here?
I mean, if he doesn't play well, you still got Devin Levi down in Rochester. Still got Colton Ellis, who looks, he looks great, and he's young. And obviously, Lyon stepping in, he's got the most experience, obviously, out of any of the goaltenders, and he has been playing fantastic. I mean, except, the cherry picker Pasternak. Cherry picker, I'm going to call him.
Well, what are you going to
because,
do? What are
yeah.
you going to do? I mean,
Why
Pasternak
would
is
they?
an opportunist, former 60 goal scorer. He does.
Yeah.
He does what he does. You know, but 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 the thing is now, what do you do with the goaltending next year? You know, do
I,
you? I think you tried to trade UPL.
yeah, because I think they got Lyon for another year,
Mm-hmm.
and I do like, and you can, they should try to see some competition for Levi and Colton Ellis, see who's better. I think Levi needs to come up to see where he's at development wise. Where again, I'm not gonna like say that Colton Ellis I like. He looks like he's a star in the making of a goaltender.
Well, I think Colton Ellis is in the plans for sure. You know, I think he's definitely in the plans, but it's like, how do you get him there? Well, the way you get him there is you have to trade a goaltender. Now, the thing about Devin Levi is I've kind of saw indications that they might try to package him with the player and try to trade him.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I don't think would be a bad thing if you can get a good piece in return. But then again, you never know. You never know. But next year is going to be real interesting to see what they try to do. I mean, as far as like needs for this team, given the fact that Tuck is going into free agency at this point.
And
What do you?
I think that's priority number one, is to get him re-signed.
Yeah, but for how long? How long do you do it? He's turning 30.
Yeah, probably maybe another couple of years, I would say.
Well, I mean, he's a comparable player to him. You're looking at 10, maybe 11 million a year. So, how long do you make that deal for? I mean, the thing is, they just got back to the playoffs, or provided that they can get past Boston, they could go on a nice run. Depending on the run that they go and how well Tuck plays, you're kind of forced to re-sign him.
Mm-hmm.
But at what cost? Because if he's turning 30, you sign him to say like an 8-year deal worth $90 million, let's say. That's a big commitment.
Plus you don't know if he'll last all 8 years, but
he's not going to. So I mean, you can front load the contract if you want.
Even though we saw we see Ovechkin last to 40 something.
Oh yeah,
Crosby's in his 40s.
Oh, can you believe that though? Those two, for the 2004 draft, I want to say it was
2005, yeah.
Whatever it was, whatever draft. It's over 20 years now for those guys.
I feel.
Good Lord. I mean, it's great. I'm not saying it's been fun to watch those two play. It really has.
Especially against each other,
Yeah, but it's like probably because I think they went 1-2 in the draft, if memory serves. I think Ovechkin went 2.
I think one of them was drafted a year before. I think Ovechkin was drafted a year before.
Something like that. I mean, I can't. Look, I'm old. I barely remember 5 minutes ago. But watching both of those guys go in the play for the last 20 years has been something. And unfortunately, it's going to come to an end sooner than later. But watching Ovechkin beat Wayne Gretzky to be the all-time leading goal scorer, I didn't think that would ever happen.
And it's definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh my God.
Absolutely. I could see him probably working in the Capitals front office or being a coach, somewhere. I could see that because I don't think he's want to stay away from hockey.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at I'm just looking at Connor McDavid and what he's accomplished so far in the league, and really, I mean, it's one of those things when you look at his stats, when you look at his numbers, 794 games played, he has over 1,200 points already. It's crazy. I mean, if you double that, another 10 years, provided he stays on the same trajectory, you're looking at over 2,020, maybe 2,500 points. But what does all that mean if you don't have a Stanley Cup?
Exactly. I mean, that's where Ovechkin finally got his in 2018, and obviously Crosby having 3, and so that you see both of them first ballot Hall of Famers.
Oh, definitely. McDavid's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about that. But there's always going to be, let's say he wins a cup, there's always going to be a but by his name.
Yeah.
He scored over 2,000 points, but he's one of the leading scorers in playoff history, but nobody wants that. But and I feel bad for him because it's not all his fault, because his playoff numbers are, he's played in 101 playoff games, and he has 156 points. So he's showing up, he's playing, but
that's the team around him. I mean, they do have talent on Edmonton. I'm not gonna, you can't. I mean, they got Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, I think, still.
Yep. They got Leon Draisaitl.
Yeah, I mean, all of them are superstars in their mind, and their right mind of that, and they're letting Anaheim stick around, and Anaheim can be, like I said, a dangerous team.
Well, they're more than sticking around. I mean, they could very well end Edmonton. And it's. I don't want to say I'm shocked or anything, but I knew Anaheim was going to be tough. And right now, it's like they're on the verge of. It's not going to be a major upset, but it's. I mean, people are waiting for Edmonton to cash in, and unfortunately, it may not be this year again.
There's going to be a lot of questions in the offseason for Edmonton if they lose this series. That's absolutely positive. I mean, if you think Toronto, a lot of questions because they're a talented team and they missed the playoffs. Well, Edmonton is going to get a lot of that. And then who knows if McDavid wants to stay with Edmonton after this.
Well, it would be poetic justice if he comes to Buffalo.
Absolutely, because he should have. That's who we were tanking for. So, and the other guy, he won a cup. Give him credit.
Hey, you know what? The Sabres did well in that trade.
I think so.
Until they win a cup, Vegas still wins that trade.
I mean, Krebs and Tuck look absolutely pretty good this playoffs.
And you know what? And Osland, he's a player. He's a player. He's going to be in the lineup for a lot of years. So I'm not, depending on what happens with this offseason, whether they try to make trade away some of the younger guys and bring in more experienced guys, who knows? The Sabres did well with that trade. It's just that they don't have a cup to show for it.
We'll see if it happens, though.
Yeah.
So there was another team that has an off season, though, but that's called the Buffalo Bills. They had something called the draft last week. I can't believe Brandon Bean, big baller Bean, was big baller Bean in this draft, getting 10 picks. Go figure.
had a feeling that they would be trading down. They traded not once, not twice, but I think it was 3 times.
Yeah,
And I had a feeling there was the a defensive tackle out of Ohio State that I thought he was going to be the guy that they were trading down for, but it wound up being T.J. Parker out of Clemson, and it didn't surprise me at all because, as we spoke before, I had a feeling that they would go edge rusher here.
That's what I thought too. The one I'm surprised about was Davison Egbenosen, a cornerback. But how Bean explained it, saying, "Well, you can't have enough cornerbacks." We got to remember we had injuries obviously last year with Maxwell Harrison. We had a lot of injuries with the cornerbacks, and where we didn't have the depth. Dane Jackson is not Maxwell Harrison or Travis White for that matter, or Christian Benford. So,
Yep. And don't forget, Christian Benford's been hurt too. He's been nicked up here and there. So the fact that they went for a corner early in the draft didn't surprise me at all. And they got a corner that fits the scheme that Jim Leonhard wants to run. He's a press corner. He has good size at like 6'1", about 190 pounds. Has good speed. Can get handsy. Had penalty problems in 2024, but cleaned a lot of that up in 2025. So that is so I think that's going to wind up being a really good pick. And then people were screaming for a wide receiver. Blah blah blah. This, that, and the other thing. They got Skylar Bell in the 4th round, which surprised a lot of the experts.
That's what I'm thinking. That this guy's going to be a steal. I seen his highlights, and this dude, he's going to be amazing. They are comparing him to Jamar Chase, which is a great comparison. And there was a coach of the Bills that did coach Chase in college, so I think I think he knows what he can how to handle him. And then we got a punter. And then, by the way, we got a punter, so you know. We need a punter. Which the punter doesn't really play much here in Buffalo, even you got a quarterback like Josh Allen. But that's hey.
It's a 7th round. It's a dart throw. It's a dart throw round anyway. But the interesting part was they picked 3 defensive backs in the draft, and the linebacker that they drafted, Caleb Elerms-Orr. This kid has a chance to play really early on. And
he reminds me of Matt Milano in a way.
Well, he's got more size. He's a little bigger than Milano. Really bigger than the Bills linebackers in total. And you don't know what's going to happen with Dorian Williams. So, I think they're going to re-sign him. To what?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And plus, I think that will also give him the opportunity to move Terrell Bernard to the outside, because I think that's where he belongs. I don't think he's an inside linebacker, even though they have Bradley Chubb as an outside. They are marketing him as an outside linebacker with obviously more of a defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
So I getting this alarms will put Bernard into a outside linebacker, which I think Bernard would flourish in that.
Yep, and probably a surprise pick in the 4th round was Jude Bowery, offensive tackle from Boston College. But if you think about it, they lost Vandermark, they lost David Edwards, and he's got long arms, so he can play the tackle position.
Let's
And,
remember that. Let's remember that Deion Dawkins is in his 30s now.
oh yeah,
So,
so it's not a
definitely.
bad idea. And don't forget, Spencer Brown has missed time too. So
Yeah.
so you got a guy that you can bring along.
And then we got a guard to help out because of Alec Anderson. And David Edwards later. I think Edwards is gone.
Yes,
Sure.
David Edwards is gone, and Alec Anderson is projected to be the starting left guard as of right now.
And I think they're preparing for maybe old Torrance to leave after the season. I don't know. Even though I think you got to resign him. I do like him alongside Spencer Brown. I mean, he hasn't been terrible at all.
No,
but I do, like I said, I may worry about Alec Anderson, but he did pretty good last season especially against Pittsburgh. He wasn't that terrible, and again, especially when you're facing a guy like T.J. Watt.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so credit,
yeah, definitely.
And then you had another cornerback, Torrin Pride Jr., and you can never have enough corner.
Well, this guy's probably going to be more special teams to start up, but he's got some size and speed too. So he definitely has some speed. I think he goes like around 6'2", as far as a cornerback goes. But the guy that I'm really interested in seeing, what happens is Jalen Kilgore, safety out of South Carolina.
I could see him waiting behind Gardner Johnson. I could, put him under his wing basically, and I could see that happening.
Oh yeah, I mean CJ Gardner Johnson's he's only going to be here for a year. And by that point, you may see Jalen take over his spot. I mean, another defensive back with speed, so I mean, they use this draft to fortify the secondary, which is fine because they had a lot of injuries in the secondary. So, and not that Jordan Poyer played bad. I mean, I give Jordan Poyer a lot of credit for bringing Cole Bishop along.
Absolutely.
So, Cole Bishop was kind of, I don't want to say he was treading water, but until Jordan Poyer came, when Jordan Poyer was paired with Cole Bishop, you definitely saw the improvement in Cole Bishop. So I really think you're going to see Cole Bishop take the next step, but now you need somebody to play beside him. Who is that going to be? And Jalen Kilgore, if he projects like they think he will, they got themselves a steal in the 5th round.
Yeah, then you got I think they got 5 undrafted free agent that some undrafted free agents, could be diamond in the rough. You look at Frank Gore Jr. and then they got. Did you see they got John Fina's son? That's how old we are now.
And not only that, we have the cousin of Mike Tomczak.
Oh, yep.
Max Tomczak.
By the way, yeah, that's Bruno Fina is John Fina's son.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Offensive linemen are one of those positions that if you can afford to keep a guy for 2 to 3 years, you may have at least a solid backup. And of course, Bruno Fina, John Cena's son, or not John Cena. but Bruno is just like his dad. He's got the exact same size as his dad. John did 6'5", 300 pounds. Can play tackle. Can also play guard. So he can be a swing guy. He can be that swing guy that can play the guard and can play tackle, which is nothing wrong with that. You
That's
need
one.
those guys.
That's one thing that I noticed with Bean, and he gets very versatile offensive lineman that can switch from guard to tackle or guard to center, or that vice versa. And they also got Jamori Macklin. I don't know if he's related to Jeremy Macklin, but
Yeah, that's his cousin. That
nice.
that is his cousin, and he's been working with him, and he's been working with him. And the interesting part is he's a smallish type of receiver. He's like 5'9", but he runs a 4.27, 4.2840. So there's a kid that that if he pans out at all, he could be a nice kick returner for you.
Absolutely. And I know fullback Jackson Aker from Wisconsin could be Reggie Gilliam's replacement.
Possibly, they have a running back out of Syracuse. I mean, they're bringing guys in to fill spots, and they got a kid from UB, Trevor Brock, So, but you don't know who's going to stand out in camp. I mean, it could be any one of these guys, and they could make the practice squad. They could, they could like Macklin could make the practice squad, but could get called up at any time. If there's an injury to a receiver, and then you never know because he could return a kickoff 101 yards for a touchdown.
Absolutely. And then you have by the way, speaking of UB, you had a UB player that was Mr. Irrelevant.
That's right.
Yeah. Right. Yep. So UB gets another draft pick. So that it's showing why UB is still a pretty good school for football. Obviously with Khalil Mack and James Starks, who's got a Super Bowl ring.
Oh my gosh, James Starks! Forgot about him. But Khalil Mack, man, I remember when he played for UB. He was something.
Very, very dominant. Very. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. That's for sure.
I think so. But maybe not the first time around.
No,
maybe not the first time around, but
probably third time around, and because I think you got in front of him J.J. Watt. I'm sure one of the Bosa's. I don't know why Joey Bosa still wants to play, but that's up to him.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with him, because if he wants to come back, it'll depend on the money, of course. But I think Bosa could be useful as a pass rusher.
He wasn't that bad last season. I did not have an issue with him. Yes, there was a risk reward with him. Obviously, we know because of his injury, but he really didn't have really a major injury. But don't forget about Michael Hoyt, who might be back sooner than we think. And who knows, he might look good, but then again, the injury that he had, it's not an easy injury to come back.
When you talk about Achilles injuries, Achilles injuries are incredibly tough to come back from. And it's usually it takes about a year, if at all, you come back from that. But with today's medical technology and whatnot, I wouldn't be surprised if he did come back. But how effective will he be? Um, you know. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, you got Hoyt, you got Bradley Chubb, who's new. And now you got TJ, who's in. So I don't think it's enough. I mean, I think a lot of fans are concerned about the nose tackle position, and and I know you voiced concerns about it last show, but I really think Deion Walker, who played nose tackle in Kentucky, so he's not exactly a fish out of water playing there. Um, I think they think they're okay. So we'll have to see, like, how that works out. But it's not. From everything that I've seen and everything that um, um, the scheme wise, it looks like he's not going to play exactly over the center.
yeah,
I
and
think
it looks like the same Durant. He's still smallish, so he's not really a true nose tackle, even though it says a defensive tackle. He's only 6'1" and 293 pounds, so he's built more like, I think, Ed Oliver than anything.
he's going to be more or less at Oliver's like backup. He's gonna play behind Ed Oliver. It'll be interesting to see like who winds up backing up Deion Walker, and whatnot. But I don't think the Bills are in bad shape there. I really don't.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it is because of like I work like it's a new defense but it's a hybrid defense, so you never know if we're gonna be in a 3-4 or a 4-3. Where obviously McDermott's defense was, in my opinion, was predictable. Obviously, you're gonna have four down linemen. You're gonna have three linebackers, and coverage that, in my opinion, was soft.
Yeah, and right now, and the key to and sometimes the key to having good coverage is to have a good pass rush. So if you have a good pass rush, because they're going to be blitzing. They're going to be blitzing. So if they can get to the quarterback, that's going to make the secondary that much better. Now, when you look at the depth chart, you have Fedarius Mathis, who's backing up Deion Walker directly, and then you have Zion Logue. Those two boys are big. Those two boys got some beef back there. So I don't think it's a size problem with the nose tackle position. I really don't. Now the defensive end position has TJ Sanders, and then backing him up is Landon Jackson. Now Landon Jackson's a guy who was a third rounder last year. So we need to see something out of him, and TJ Sanders was a second rounder last year. So we need to see something out of both those guys.
Yeah, I mean, even because if Landon Jackson's not playing all that good, and he's still got Michael Hoyt that might be coming back from injury, who was a defensive end who looked very good before he got injured, and and then like I said, you got Russo and Chubb. With Russo, I hope this is the defense that I think he could probably break out on. I could see that happening.
It's possible. It's possible, but anytime you have a defensive scheme change, there's always going to be bumps in the road in the beginning.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Always. So
the offense will be, obviously we know the offense. Obviously, we know the offense is going to be way ahead because Cook and Shakir and Allen already played under Brady.
Yeah.
But he might change things up because who knows if he was handcuffed by McDermott,
Mhm.
and now he's got like receivers that he can tinker with, like DJ Moore, possibly Skylar Bell, and one of these undrafted free agents too. Who knows? And you can't forget about we still have Nicole Hardman and
Well, I don't know if McCole Hardman he's. I wouldn't be surprised if he winds up on the practice squad because right now you're starting three. Okay, you have DJ Moore, Joshua Palmer's still here. Don't forget about him. Khalil Shakir, and then behind them you have Skylar Bell, Terrell Shavers, which not sure if he's going to be completely ready when the season starts. And then you've got Keon Coleman, he's a polarizing figure in this whole thing.
He's definitely going to be watched, especially in the preseason and training camp and preseason because of the fact that of what they said at the press conference and plus of like
Yep.
plus him getting in trouble last season, being late for meetings, and hopefully that our veterans probably told him, look, it time to be serious. I mean, he's drafted him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for him. Well, they need to have something with him. They have to have something out of him next year because apparently Brandon Bean turned down trade offers for him. So, okay, okay, kid. I'm not saying it's a make or break year, but usually a third year rookie has to show something. That's the year that he has to, I mean, at this point, give me like 45 catches, maybe 50 catches, and 6 touchdowns to show that you're worth keeping. Because at this point, Skylar Bell, because he can play. He's not only a slot guy; he can play outside too. So then who knows how long DJ Moore's going to be here for? So
yeah, he's in his 30s, I believe.
I mean, however that is. But yeah, I mean, I can see where, I mean, DJ Moore he's one of the big keys for sure. Because you trade a second rounder for him, that he has to show something.
Yeah, obviously, like the only position we really didn't have to worry about was tight end. I mean, they re-signed Knox, but I'm hoping Kincaid stays healthy because he did look promising when he was healthy. He looked absolutely promising.
Well, they have his 5th year option, so he's going to be here for at least a couple more years. But I would like to see him get, be that guy.
Yeah, I would like to see him stay on the field this time around. Not him being injured a lot this past regular season hurt the Bills quite a bit. I mean, where when he was on the field, our offense was clicking. I mean, I already like Jackson Hawes. I think this guy's going to be a beast eventually.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Jackson Hawes is he's like having another offensive tackle out there. But he can catch. He can run some routes. So the fact that he's there, that's a definite advantage. But I think it all boils down to because they're gonna score points. I fully believe that they're gonna score points. I think the problem that you have is how long of an adjustment period does the defense need before they're a real factor?
Yeah, and usually sometimes it takes them after a bye week or maybe after a 10-day break of a Thursday night into a Sunday. I mean, we don't know. I mean, eventually down the road, in which which in 2 weeks, another thing's going to probably be happening is will probably be schedule, which I like. I would not want to see that many night games for people that have to get up in the morning. Jeepers.
There's going to be some night games. I'm sorry to tell you.
I know because you got Josh Allen, obviously, in must see TV. Which I'm hoping that they keep the Kansas City and Bills game later on in the year, because that's a ratings grabber, which Mahomes versus Allen. You don't want to see Allen versus Justin Fields. That's not going to wow people.
But yeah, I mean the schedule is going to be interesting to see how that comes out. And don't forget about your dynasty fantasy football drafts, everybody. If you're not in one yet, they should be coming up.
We got mini camps coming up. We got OTAs coming up. It's creeping up, but it's still playoff hockey.
Oh yeah,
we still have it. So prediction for tomorrow.
Hey, Game 6. Let's all pray for a series win. I think there's a good chance that they're going to pull it out, but I don't know. I don't, because they're going to Boston and things happen in Boston.
All right, go Sabres.
Okay, I'm going to fade to black.
Rich.
I'm going to fade to black.
Oh, darn.